Hey guys, Brendan V101 here. I was watching SS Custom's video on how he's making that motorized bike, and I had an idea to make one myself, and I thought of a pretty good idea that's really simple and wouldn't cost a lot of money either. So basically what you need to get is a mountain bike frame. You could use a BMX frame, I guess, but I don't know, mountain bike frame would probably be better because it's a bit bigger, so you're not like riding around on a little kid's bike. So basically all you need to do on this, to mount the engine, basically same thing as him, have a piece of box tubing either bolted or welded to the frame across the back here. Then off that, bolt on a hinge, and then to that hinge bolt a plate, which will have the engine mounts on it, and mount the engine onto there. Now, if I do this, I'm going to mount like a 3 horsepower Briggs. So it'll only be on a little angle. It's not going to be on that much angle, so the oiling will still work. Then once I do that, because obviously it's on a hinge, so it's going to just bob around. Off one of the engine bolts, or either just off a little bracket on the engine mount, I'll have a piece of either flat bar or rod coming to this piece of flat bar here. And so what I'm going to do is have a hinge point up. Sorry guys. I'll have a hinge point up here, and the rod or flat bar will come to here. So when you pull this backwards, it'll essentially pull this forwards and lift the engine, this engine mount upwards, which will lift the engine off the tire. So basically what I'm going to do is have a little stop here, so this can't move any more further backwards than that, so it's not going to be able to push the engine down on the tire more. And then to stop the engine bobbing upwards, what I'm going to do is this is like a side view. This is where this here would bolt into the bike frame. So this is a bicycle frame, and this is that rod arm. So what I'm going to do is like oversize the hole a little bit, so the whole thing, and sort of loosely mount it into the frame, so this whole rod can move a little bit sideways. Then what I'm going to do is have a little L bracket like this, so it'll be coming over, say like halfway or maybe a little bit more over this linkage, so you can't actually move the linkage either forward or backwards. Obviously you can't move it backwards because that stops there, but you can't move it forwards because this will be there. So in order to move it forwards, it's sort of like a gear stick in a car. All you have to do is push this sideways, which will move this over, and then you can pull it forwards. And then to put it back down, obviously you still have this sort of in a sideways motion, so you can put it back and then clip it back this way again, and that'll stop that from moving. So that'll like lock the engine in place. So I'll have friction drive, so what I'm going to do is just make up spindle like he did, just have a tube, and then weld some flat plate onto the end, drill a hole in it, weld some flat plate on the other end, and then make a little keyway in it, just with like a grinder and a file, and then mount the whole thing onto the engine shaft with the keyway. I don't want to do chain drive, because chain drive it'll come off, and it's just very finicky, and you won't get the same amount of power. You actually get more power with friction drive. Oh, well, give or take, but yeah, you sort of need a reduction drive if you're going to do chain drive, so friction is just a lot easier. Then I'll just put a few beads of weld on there to make it nice and grippy, and then basically, because I've got this mounted at the back here where the back brakes used to be, the back brake cable will still be all hooked up, so then I'll just hook up the back brake cable, which I would have removed anyway to weld this on, the back brake cable to the engine throttle. So I'll have the throttle already hooked up to the handbars and down the back, and I'll just have front brakes, which is really all you need anyway. I wouldn't be going very fast in this thing, so yeah. And then I can just clip it upwards and ride it like I normally would, start the engine up, and then just ride along, and then just slowly with my hand just drop it down, and then lock it into place when it's down. And when I get to a set of traffic lights, just rip it up, lock it in, and yeah. I might also have some sort of locking mechanism so you can lock it up, as well as down. It might also work if you spin this around and lock it on the other side of this pin. It might lock it up. I'm not really sure yet. Obviously I haven't built it, so I'm just sort of brainstorming, but yeah, that would be my idea if I were to build a motorized bike. So with all of my experience, this is the easiest method and would work extremely well. So I don't know, SS customers, you're watching, if you haven't actually built your bike yet and you're watching this, might be a few good ideas for you. I'm not really sure if I'll build this, but if I get the time, I might have a squiz at it. Just be a sort of day project. So yeah, catch you guys later.